I'll be really quick, guys, because I know a lot of us have got a parents' evening coming up, etc. So I won't take too long. I just wanted to talk to you about what we could offer here at Risca Primary. In our breakout room, we all said we're all doing little bits and we're moving forward. Wouldn't it be nice if we all sat in a room with all of our little bits and said, right, we like that, we're not so keen on that, let's slide this bit together. So our bit is going to just be about guided reading. But of course, in terms of the overall school, a flavour of our school would be this circle here in front of you. If we start at the top, okay, we'd be looking at our reading overviews from our guided reading sessions, and they're linked to questions, which I'll talk about in a minute. And we've scrutinised those levels, and we found that after the pandemic, those levels had dipped. So I had a complete panic, and we talked about how we're going to get those reading levels back up to where they were. We had a look at teacher assessments. Did teachers actually understand what they were assessing and reading, which is an ongoing issue for all of us, isn't it? And so we looked at the reading records, which I'll show you in a minute, alongside the teacher assessments in our APP meetings, linked those up to the books, and then said, right, well, something's going wrong because they're not all linking up. So for us, that was really important. We created a skills list, which comes from the curriculum in terms of the progression steps, but also I can't quite get, I can't quite lose the old levels. So I made sure that we knew where we were in terms of what our teachers would expect in their year group, stage appropriately, so that when we're planning literacy lessons, but as well as our guided reading sessions, the teachers knew exactly what they were looking for. So going back down now, we got the placemats. We created some new placemats I'm just going to show you. And then we focus on our high frequency words, our level questions, our reading across the curriculum, and our guided reading timetabling. And then when we had any time left, we put a little sprinkling of work on our library, and again, making sure there was that love of learning throughout the school. So thanks, Kath. So there's going to be nothing new about what I show you next. I'm sure you've all seen it before. This is our bread and butter. If any of our teachers or our LSAs, because we're lucky to have some LSAs who can support us, are reading with a group, they'd be looking at something like this. It's a big A3 sheet. They're all leveled. The colours on the left-hand side are all according to the levels. And what we've really focused on this year now, or what we're doing at the moment, is in that top of the sheet, when it says Q for questioning, we're looking at specifically what questions the teachers are using to generate the answers from the reading. Okay, so that's what we're really focusing on this time. Our readers are we're doing really well. We've got a nice lot of fluent readers, but we're thinking about just deepening those questions now so that their responses are a little bit better. Our national tests weren't quite where we were, maybe. So yeah, that's fine, Kath. Go on. We went over the old. Thanks, Kath. We went over the basics. Are our children being able to read these words, and if not, how are we going to support them to do that? We started with phonics, we moved on to our keywords, which were all leveled. Thanks, Kath. We moved on to our common spelling words as they got up through the school. We focused on those. We made sure that all of our staff that were delivering guided reading sessions knew what we should be reading in terms of what they should be understanding. And what we did then, we developed a tracker, thanks, Kath, that we're using. It starts with Jolly Phonics right down the bottom, and it moves into those keywords. And this isn't for people like me to say, why isn't your child doing that? It's for the teacher to have next to them in a guided reading session and think, oh, I can't quite understand why they don't get those sounds. I don't really understand what the issue is here with these words. Then we'll have a chat. And then we put in some intervention groups or a bit of support. So for us, those assessments of the sounds, the blends, moving into the words, that's where we're starting with our assessment that comes from our guided reading sessions. Does that make sense so far? Okay, So thanks, Kath. So these are our placemats that we've created, which look much more zhuzhy in real life. They're all little laminated sheets with a little ring I've given to everybody, so everybody's likes them in their guided reading file. And what we're saying is, let's put these down in front of us and think about the types of questions that we should be doing. We've got lots of NQTs, lots of new teachers, lots of returning to school teachers and LSAs who maybe aren't quite as confident as we assume we are. So let's just think about the type of questions we've been using. And now in our guided reading sessions, when we're comfortable with that, the children have access to these. And of course, we're asking each other questions. We're asking their peers a question. In our secretarial skills now, I do a guided reading group. And the children do a little mini guided reading group with the same book, and they're using these questions to ask each other. And they're saying, "Oh, Mrs. Rees, we smashed level 1. We're going up to level 2." I said, "Bring it on, guys. Come on, let's have a go. Let's see how we do it." And then we're circling the ones we don't get because they're all laminated, so they can't destroy my resources. So we're circling the ones we don't get, and then we're saying, well, let's work on those now. We'll put those in our warm-up in our literacy books, okay? So we're going to make sure that we do understand that. Thank you, Kath. Sorry, I was just showing you that the levels they go to. Okay, and now that we're getting better at our guided reading, we're looking at those really tricky skills up there. And if we had a chat with our teachers, because we asked them what they needed in terms of guided reading support, and these words kept coming up. You know, if you said to me, I want my children to synthesize, you know, I'm struggling. I mean, as a literacy lead, you won't be, but there are some whose passion is maths that actually we maybe need to go back into staff training and think about, come on, let's talk about these skills and how we're going to get those from the children, if that's what we're expecting. And thank you, Kat. And the last one I'll talk to you about today, I think, is our guided reading set. Oh, sorry, Kat, can you just go back to that little video? You don't have to show the video, but what we've done, and you're either going to balk at this or you're going to applaud, I don't know. But what we've done, we've recorded lots of guided reading sessions, and we've recorded good bits, and we've recorded bad bits. Now, the teachers didn't want me to show their faces for the bad bits, so I've done the bad bits. And then as a team, we've analysed why a guided reading session is good, why it works, and perhaps how we could improve it. And then what we need to avoid for the future. And I can't tell you, when I was doing it, how many of them you could see going, oh yeah, I do that in my guided reading session, because you just get into habits, don't you? So we've said now as a school, where we are now is we are going to set ourselves some rules for guided reading, what we do and what we don't, what we try to avoid. And as a whole school, we are, thanks Kath, last slide, I promise, we are making sure, of course, that all of those guided reading sessions are part of a whole school ethos about loving learning and loving reading. And this is where we are at the moment. In the top right hand corner, it's sorting out the library. That's my job. But everybody else, we're really engaged in guided reading and reading through the school. And if you'd like to come and have a look at any of those, if you want to take any of my resources to save you doing it yourself, I'm really very happy. Come and see us on our day, and I'd be thrilled to get the photocopier going and or send you some bits and bobs, anything you need. Okay, thanks very much.